the Johnversations Podcast. This is episode number 49. And as always, I'm your host, John Connor, saying thank you so much for spending some time with us this week. We had a short little episode this week. No guest. There's been a lot going on, and we'll kind of touch on that as we go in. But, a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world right now. A lot of cool things happening. Just kind of wanted to take some time to talk about a few things this week. And I missed you guys. We didn't have an episode last week. And so I wanted to come in and kind of talk about, what was on my mind and things like that. So if you're tuned in, you're listening, thank you so much for joining us. And as always, make sure you share this podcast with your friends. Want to make sure that we're kind of getting out to as many people as we can. So this episode is called Fauci Ouchies, Part 2, The Vaccine King, and that is because I did receive my first dose of the Moderna vaccine. So hooray for vaccines. Super, super excited. One step closer. Just kidding. We like a good sound effect around here. But yeah, so got my first vaccine. I told my siblings I was going to get it, and they were like, how are you in line to get your vaccine? And, I told them, said, all those years that you guys made fun of me for being fat when I was a kid finally paid off. Vaccine is coming up, John. So I was lucky enough. And I don't even want to say lucky. I want to say I've made enough poor decisions in my life where I met some qualifications. I've had asthma since I was a little kid. I'm sure some of you guys listening are like, yeah, no shit. I hear you huffing and puffing through every episode. But was able to get it, and it was a interesting experience. I showed up, and I was expecting it to be like full blown, like doctor's office kind of thing. And the place that I went to was in a strip mall. And on one side, there was an international market. On the other side, there was like a Chinese restaurant and a check cashing place. I was like, seems like a strange place to get a vaccine, but if this is where they've got it, like this is where I'm going to be. So I went in and they took my temperature with a little temperature gun. They said, everything's looking good. Just fill out this paperwork. So I filled that out, got what I needed, went in, and they basically gave me, the little rundown, let me know when I'd come back for my second shot. And then she asked me, she said, are you allergic to any medications? And I told her, when I was a kid, I think I was allergic to like penicillin or amoxicillin, something like that. But, haven't had any issues since I was a child. And they said, okay, well, you're going to wait 30 minutes after you get your shot, which I was, totally cool with. Would rather make sure that I was feeling good. And if there was any issues, anything like that, that happened when I was in the office. So got the shot. I'm out there sitting and just playing on my phone, and I started feeling like I was sweating, like my forehead felt like I was sweating, and I'd wipe my forehead and I was like bone dry. And I've kind of had the chills a little bit. And so at the end of my 30 minutes, I went to the nurse and was like, hey, I think I'm good. Can you hit me with that temperature gun though? Because I feel kind of clammy. Feel, again, like I'm sweating. She's like, oh yeah, that's totally fine. There's been a lot of people who've kind of reported that, like feeling like they have the chills or they're a little clammy, things like that. So far that has been the only side effect. I do feel a little tired. I got the shot this morning. I have felt like a little tired since, but other than that, that's the only major side effect that I've kind of noticed so far. And I wanted to kind of share what I was experiencing, and on Instagram, once the episode comes out, I'll kind of document any other side effects or anything like that. But I know that, like right now, it's such a crazy time, and I know there's a lot of people who are still kind of iffy about whether or not they're going to get it or if it's safe or anything like that. And so, for people who do get the vaccine and they want to share that experience, I think it helps kind of let people know what's going on and things like that. So I've got my first shot. I go back in 28 days for the second one. I will make sure that I'm letting you guys know what's going on. Any side effects, anything like that. And hopefully, it'll put some people's mind at ease. My wife has been fully vaccinated, which I'm very thankful for. And I mean, honestly, I just feel like if people get the vaccine, then like maybe we could start going back to some kind of semblance of normalism. Like I was telling my wife, like once we're both vaccinated, the one thing I really want to do is I want to go to a movie theater. Like I love going to the movies. I love like seeing it on the big screen in the dark with that Dolby surround sound and having the popcorn and I'm not even a big popcorn guy. I don't like particularly enjoy it, but there's something about being in the movie theater with it that like I'm just like, man, I miss this so much. So I'm I told her as soon as we got the vaccine, like that's something that I want to do. I haven't eaten in a restaurant since March. That would be nice to go sit down somewhere. So I'm just like hoping that once I'm vaccinated, my wife is vaccinated, the family is vaccinated. The CDC just came out and said that people who are vaccinated, they can't hang out together without, wearing masks or having a social distance. And I don't know, like for the first time, it just kind of feels like for the first time in a year, it just kind of feels like we're on track to, again, kind of get back to some sense of normalcy. I know that Biden had come out and said that, he was hoping that there would be enough vaccine available for everyone to get vaccinated. I think he said by the end of May. So, I don't know. Hopefully the summer will be different. I'm still a little weary, right? Because, we've seen COVID numbers start to kind of level off. But I was reading an article with Dr. Fauci, and he was stating that, yes, why it's a great thing that we're starting to level off. Like it's going to be super important that we're still being responsible, because typically what we see is we see it level and then we see it surge. Wearing the mask, the social distancing, getting out of the holiday season, things like that has definitely helped to kind of flatten that line. But if we start getting comfortable and kind of falling back from the mask wearing and the social distance, we could very easily see ourselves kind of climb up, very, very quickly. And it's also crazy because, COVID has been so bad that like here in Tennessee, it's like 1,300 cases, 1,600 cases a day, where we're looking at that, we're like going, that's good. But I think we still have like something like 60,000 infections per day in the United States. So like in comparison or in relativity to what it's looked like, last year and then coming out of the holidays, it's definitely better, but it's still like when you sit back and think about it, it's a damn crazy number. So again, just really hoping, hopefully people will be able to travel soon and go see their families and things like that. And again, just really hoping that soon we'll get back to some kind of whatever the new normal is, I'm not aching to fly anywhere. I'm not aching to, my wife and I were talking. She was like, she's a very extroverted person by nature. She's the kind of person that like for her mental health, she needs to be around others. She needs to have like some kind of interaction, stuff like that. I'm kind of the opposite. I'm an extrovert by choice. I have people that I like, people that I enjoy. Yeah, I want to hang out with them, but I don't need a lot of people. But she was saying, she was like, after COVID, she was like, I don't even know if I'm going to be comfortable being in these large crowds like we used to, when we go to concerts or, we'd go to like dancing in the park, something like that, where it's like, movies in the park, being around all these people. It's like, what are our brains? What's that wiring going to be like once things are kind of, excuse me, once things are kind of somewhat back to normal, So I don't know. Excited that I got it. I'm excited for the second one. Hopefully this will help anybody who's kind of debating. Again, once the episode comes out, I'll let you guys know on Instagram, anything else that's going on side effects wise or anything that I'm experiencing. We'll do the same thing after the second dose. My arm's a little sore, I'm noticing right now. But yeah, we'll definitely keep up to date on that. But again, just wanted to share my personal experience in case it does help anyone. If there's anyone listening being like, I just don't know if I'm going to do it. So So far, minimal side effects. The microchip itches a little bit, but I'm guessing that'll subside. The cool thing is, too, I can hold my arm up now in front of one of those card readers on a vending machine, kind of like Apple Pay, and it'll just pop out a soda. So that's cool. Whatever they put in there, really, really helping. Speaking of conspiracy theories, we got to talk about the stimulus, right? I love that sound effect. We got to talk about the stimulus. So it's passed $1,400 for every American and any dependents. I believe it's topped out at $75,000 individual income, or $150,000 as a couple. So I know all of you guys right now are checking your bank account, being like, "When's that hitting?" Because if you're like most Americans, you're like $150,000. Yeah, right. I'm so far from that. So I'm sure you're all checking your bank accounts, wanting to know when that's going to be hitting. I will tell you, there is a really cool website that you can go to. You put in, your personal information. It's through irs.gov, and it will let you know when your stimulus is supposed to be deposited into your account. So definitely go and check that out. If you're aching and you just want to know, it's a cool way to know exactly when it'll be there for you. In addition, something that I thought was really cool is they're raising the child tax credit from $2,000 to $3,600. But what seems really cool about it, if from what I've read, what it looks like they're going to do is from July to December, for every one of those children, you're going to get a $300 direct deposit into your account. So, you'll get part of it throughout the year, which should really help, especially people who are rebounding through COVID and stuff like that. And then the rest of it you would get on your tax return. So I think that's pretty cool. I think it's, this has been a crazy year plus, especially for parents who've been homeschooling their kids, or, spending more time in Zoom classes than they would like, and things like that. And, for people who aren't working like they normally do, I think it's going to be very, very beneficial and very helpful. So I'm excited about it. I like to, it's kind of cool to see something pass that seems like it really wants to help people who are struggling, and especially with the amount of gridlock that we tend to get into on certain topics, to see that this was just kind of party line pushed through. I gotta tell the truth. I was excited, because it was just like, no Republican, not a single Republican voted for the COVID relief plan, which is crazy, because 70% of the American population said, yeah, hey, like, we fucking need this. So to have no Republican, it's like, well, obviously you don't understand that your job is to represent your constituents, and you're trying to either push through your own agenda, or you're, trying to benefit the people who donate to your campaigns and things like that. Because guess what? None of this goes to the top 1%, which I thought was awesome. This is all for struggling businesses and struggling families and people who need help paying for extra childcare and stuff like that. So I thought it was really, really cool. The reason I hit that conspiracy theory song was because I was thinking, when I heard that no Republicans voted for this at all, the first thing that I saw was that a Republican senator had tweeted out and said, congratulations to all the restaurants who will be getting, I think it was, $2.8 billion in relief, where you voted no. It blows my mind. It's like, I'm going to vote no on this. And then when the Democrats push it through party line, then I'm going to go on Twitter and be like, see, you're welcome. See what we did for you? Where it's like, you don't get to, the best way I heard it explained is like, when there's somebody at your job and they have a birthday and somebody buys them a gift, there's always that one guy that's like, oh, it's from all of us. You know what I mean? So it's that kind of mentality where it's like, oh, I didn't do shit for you, but you're welcome, And that just kind of blows my mind a little bit, where it's just like, I don't understand like how you can seem to be so against the well-being of the people that you represent. And then when something passes that you vehemently fought against, then you're like, hey, high five. You guys check your bank accounts. So the other thing I couldn't help thinking, I was thinking about School of Rock and, or not School of Rock. I'm sorry. Was it School of Rock? It's, I'm just a bill. Yeah, I'm only a bill. Schoolhouse Rock. That's it. I just kept thinking about how in that cartoon, like the bill comes alive and it's singing to the kids to kind of make them understand. And I was wondering, I was like, man, if the COVID relief bill grew legs and hopped up and started singing and it was like, Parkland was a false flag, false flag, false flag. Parkland was a false flag. Marjorie Taylor Greene would have been like, I'm fucking voting for that. She would have been like, that bill makes some really good points. I'm 100% behind this COVID relief bill. She's a psychopath, man. I don't know if you guys have followed the senator whose office is across from her. She has a trans daughter, I believe. Please, I apologize. I don't have the story right in front of me, so I apologize if I'm misspeaking. But they have a trans child, and so she hung up the transgender pride flag outside of her office. Well, then you've got this peach, Marjorie Taylor Greene, posted a sign outside of her door that said there are only two genders, trust the science, just trying to stir some shit. So I don't know, I could talk about her forever, and my like dislike for her, my disdain for her, but I want to keep this kind of fun. Again, you know, there's a lot of good things going on. We got vaccines rolling out. We got stimulus money coming. Like, you know, hopefully we keep moving in the right direction, and you know, with having control of the Senate, we just push things through. You know what I mean? And the Republicans have done it to us forever. You know what I mean? They got Amy Coney Barrett in Barrett in record time. But you know, with something like the COVID relief bill, it's too soon. You know, so if it's for their agenda, we can move fucking as fast as they want to. But if it's something that's against their agenda, it's like, well, we need to take the time and really go through everything and, you know, make sure. Also, it's funny that like Republicans only care about government spending when they're not the ones spending the money. The deficit always goes way up under Republicans, but as soon as it's a Democrat in office or the Democrats have control of the Senate, it's, well, we really need to look at, you know, we need to cut wasteful spending and things like that. And, you know, Charlemagne the God was on Real Time with Bill Maher talking about Real Time with Bill Maher. I sounded really strange when I said that. He was on Real Time with Bill Maher talking about how we spent like trillions of dollars on this fighter jet that is never going to get off the ground, but like we can't get money to people who need it. So I don't know. Again, really happy that this COVID relief bill's gone through. I'm really excited for the people that's going to help. Excited about the vaccine. I'm excited that it seems like more and more people are getting it. And yeah, I just want to hug my grandma. That's another thing, man. I found out that, you know, over the last 2 weeks, my grandmother got COVID and she's in Florida by herself. You know what I mean? And, you know, I know my mom wanted to go see her and things like that. And you know, you can't, in that kind of situation. So she's doing okay now. She's in a rehab facility. She's one of the toughest people I've ever met. She beat cancer twice. She's just, you know, she's an old school badass, but, you know, it was scary. You know what I mean? So hopefully as more people get the vaccine, we can hug our grandparents. We can be around family. You know, I'm just looking forward to that. So what else has been going on? So, for my parents that are listening, we have been potty training, which is a whole lot of fun. We are 2 weeks in, a little over 2 weeks. And it's been a lot of asking, you know, hey, do you got to go pee? Hey, do you got to go poop? But the funniest thing about it is, you know, the first couple of days there were some accidents, but now she's kind of got it pretty well. And these kids they're so good with like iPads and iPhone and like technology now. It's ridiculous. So it's when she has to go poop, she says, oh, I have to poop. Can I have YouTube? She wants to watch YouTube Kids, which, we try to limit screen time and stuff like that, but it seems to help her kind of get through it. And it's funny because she's almost like, I'm sure if you ask any adult, like, what do you do when you're pooping? They're like, oh, I'm on YouTube or I'm checking Reddit or something like that. So it's, it's funny because she's like a little adult in that way. But I was in the living room and she had the iPad and I was like, I wonder if I FaceTime her, if she'll answer. So FaceTimed her and she picked up and I saw her little head on the screen and she's like, hey, Dad. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? She's, I'm just pooping. And, we had a little conversation and it was super cute. And I said, okay, well, let me know when you're done. And she, she knows which button to hit to hang up the FaceTime and things like that. Hang up the FaceTime. I sound like I'm 90 years old, but she knew what button to hit to hang up. And the next day she was in there, she had to go again. And I went to FaceTime her and she ignored me. She hit the ignore button. And I was like, what the fuck? So I gave her a minute and I FaceTimed her again and she answered. And I said, what are you doing? She said, I'm pooping and watching YouTube. And I said, well, did you ignore my call? And she said, yes, I'm watching YouTube. Love you. Bye. And then hung up on me again. So I don't know, man. It's just crazy. It's crazy to think if I was, when I was her age, if somebody put an iPad or something like that in front of me, I would have been like, what kind of black magic sorcery is this? You know what I mean? And for them just to be so comfortable with it kind of blows my mind a little bit. Just the fact that they can, I don't know, they can use it so well and they navigate. I can just give it to her. I don't have to open anything for it or for her. I unlock it. She knows, here's YouTube, here's my coloring book, here's the Khan Academy. I can kind of jump in between stuff like that. So I don't know, it's nuts. I can definitely see how it would be addicting as well. Cause it's sometimes she's like, I want the iPad. Give me that sweet, sweet iPad. Take that YouTube and just put it up my nose. It's just she likes it so much. So I definitely understand why it's important to make sure that you're limiting that time, making sure that, they're not on the devices all the time. I was talking to my wife. My wife was like, when do you think we should get her? What age do you think would be appropriate to get her a phone? And I said, I guess maybe when she's old enough to, start going and doing things with her friends. She wants to go play laser tag or, go to a movie with some friends, something like that. If something happens, she has a way to get a hold of us. But I was like, she's not getting a smartphone. She's not getting a smartphone at 12 or 13. She's getting that old basic phone, that T9 punishment text. So, it's just, it's cool on some hands. It's cool to see them be such a little adult and cool to see them kind of be able to function that so well. But at the same time, you also want to be like, hey man, this isn't your whole life. You know what I mean? I don't want her to be trained to be like, well, everything I do is through the iPad. Cause that's when, the need and all that stuff starts coming. So I don't know if you're a parent and you're listening, we have a link in the show notes. If you've got any advice on potty training or ways that you've helped limit your kid's screen time or just any best practices that you want to share, feel free to leave a message. I'd love to play it on the show. Because I do know for a fact that there are parents who listen, in particular, some young parents. So it would be cool to get any best practices, anything like that. But yeah, man, potty training is a lot of fun. Be prepared to, if you're not there yet, be prepared to wipe some pee off the ground. She was at the babysitter and the babysitter's kid was giving her a piggyback ride and she was, laughing, have a good time. Then she just stopped. She goes, I pooped. And I guess the babysitter's daughter had a brand new white shirt on, that she had just got. She was like, Mom, can you come get her and make sure there's nothing on my back? And luckily she didn't, but just that instant moment of panic. So, if you haven't started yet, be prepared to wipe up the floor a few times. Pro tip, have some like chocolates or some treats that you can give as a reward every time. That seemed to motivate her pretty well. And just be patient, like just know what to expect. Just know that, you're going to have those accidents. And when they have the accidents, it's, hey, it's okay. That's what's supposed to happen, So yeah, any cool stories, any tips, tricks, anything like that you want to share, hit that link in the show notes, leave us a message. We would absolutely love to hear from you. The only other thing I want to let you guys know, again, I told you this was going to be a short episode this week, but thank you for checking it out and hanging out with us. We do have some new merch designs with our new cartoon logo. You guys might notice the show logo has changed over the last couple months. Cute little cartoon drawing. So we've got we've got the merch up. We're going to have, by the time this comes out Wednesday, there will be some new merch up in the shop with the new logo. You can check it out. We're going to have some face masks. Cause remember, you still got to wear that fucking mask. Okay. Also have beer koozies. So if you want to put a face mask on your beer, you can rock that, or your diet soda, or your White Claw, whatever you're drinking. You can wrap that up as well. And we're working on doing some other cool things. I had a couple test keychains made that looked really cool that I might be giving out here in a little bit. Trying to find a way to get some stickers out, stuff like that. So yeah, just make sure you're checking out the merch store. And, and again, I'm definitely not expecting anybody to purchase anything. If it is, I only want somebody to support the show if it's within the means to do so. Right. Right now, again, because of COVID, because the world's so crazy, I know that it isn't like it was 2 years ago where we were like, I kind of like this show. I kind of like this guy. I guess I'll buy a t-shirt. Right now, for a lot of people, every dollar really helps. So, please don't put yourself out. Don't feel like it's, anything that you have to do to support the show. Honestly, if you want to support the show, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, share your favorite episode with your friends. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I, really like this person. Check out this interview, anything like that. We're going to continue to have them rolling out. We're working on booking out right now. So, hopefully, next week we'll be back with just a normal format, interview. But yeah, check it out, watch the show, share the show, send out that YouTube link if you're someone who likes to watch it on YouTube. Just any way that you can support is awesome. You know what I mean? We're coming up on episode 50. When we first launched this and COVID hit, I was like, I'll be surprised if we make it 10 episodes. We're coming up on 5 times that. So, just wanted to close it out by saying thank you to everyone who has listened, to everyone who has shared the show, everyone who has interacted, the folks on Reddit who have left some user questions over the last couple episodes, things like that. Just really, really appreciate your support. Really appreciate you tuning in every week. And we love you guys, from myself, and Mat Halliday, our producer. We're working really hard to make sure that we can continue to make things better. We're hopefully going to have a new set design coming soon, make things look a little more visually appealing. You're still going to have to deal with me. If you watch it on YouTube, doesn't matter how nice the set is, you're still going to get this mug right in front of you. So sorry about that. Nothing I can do about that. But that's it, guys. Again, just want to say thank you for checking out this week's episode. If you didn't get a chance, go back and listen to episode 48 with Dr. Viviana Cole. She's a sex therapist, family therapist. She's one of the experts on Married at First Sight. She's a super kind, super interesting human being. So if you haven't got a chance to check that out, go back and listen to that one. And we will see you guys next week for episode number 50. Thanks for hanging out.